Hello, and thank you for attending this session of CMF Overview. What we're going to do today is I'm going to show you some of the key views in CMF and also introduce you to some of the common facilities that come with MainView, which includes CMF. So the first thing you need to do is navigate to a MainView menu. It may be hosted on an ISPF menu, or you may get in through a C-list. You'll really need to check with your installer. But once you get into MainView, you'll see a menu like this. And what we want to do for CMF is go into option Z, which is the last option on the menu. And then we're going to go to option 3 for CMF. And you're going to be presented with a menu like this. Now, this is what we call an easy menu, and they come with all of the MainView products. What this does is it allows you to place your cursor on a value and press enter, and it'll take you to a relevant display. What we call these items in white are hyperlinks. They're context-sensitive view transfers. You will see these also in the data displays, and I'll point some of those out as we go forward. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at a couple of the system views. So what I'm going to do is put my cursor on System Overview and press Enter. And then I can come down to System Overview and press Enter again. And it provides me with a nice overview of the activity on my system, as you can see here. Now I also can look at multiple systems at once using a context command. So I can type in con space all, and that will show me all of the connected targets. So now you can see I have two systems listed, BMCA and BMCB, and that's all the systems I have in my Sysplex. So if your environments are larger, you will see additional systems listed here. We also can show you workload information. Here's a high-level display, and what we can do is we can drill down into any of these fields to get additional information. So here we see all the jobs that are using CPU, which we get from CPU busy, so on and so forth. If we had NQs out there, we could view the NQs. I don't have any on my test system, but here we would say who the waiter is and who the owner is, as well as which system they're on. So that's a handy way to resolve your NQs very quickly. We also show information on LPARs. So if you want to see what's happening with your LPARs across the environment, you can do it like so. MainView does not need to be installed on all of your LPARs. It gets this information from the hardware. So we will show you all of the LPARs that are configured on the same hardware. So we also can show you capacity groups like so, and a whole bunch of additional metrics. But I don't want to get bogged down on LPARs, so let's move on. So we also provide a wealth of job displays. Overview provides you an overview of the resource utilization by address spaces, as you see here. Now notice some of the columns are in white and some are in blue. The blue columns don't have hyperlinks, but the white ones do. So if I put my cursor on a particular value, like in this case, I'm going to look at the CPU utilization for address space MB pound C1CB. I press enter, and then I'll get additional detail on what that address space is doing. If I hyperlink on the leftmost field, I'm going to get a menu of different actions I can take against the job, things I want to display. And we can drill down into these. For instance, if I want to see the delays, I can see that this address space is being delayed for CPU 1.32% of the time, which is pretty manageable. If it were a higher value, I could hyperlink on that, and then MainView will return to me all the address spaces that are being dispatched in front of it. Okay, let's back up from here. If you have zip processors, we'll show you the utilization for the jobs. So here you can see the zip CPU time as well as the total percentage. And we talked about delays. Let's back out of here. Okay, so let's say that I'm looking at a view called sysover, and this all looks fine, and I want to go ahead and also display the address spaces with the highest delays. What I can do is I can use the horizontal split command, HS, and position my cursor where I want the split, let's say right here, and press enter. And MainView will open an empty window for me. Now what I can do when I have an open window is use the set command, and here I tell him what I want to see. So I'm going to say I want to see things from BMCB for product CMF, and I want to look at the view J delay, which will show me job delays. So I'm going to go ahead and PF3. And you can see he populates the bottom window with the delays. Now I also can do vertical splits. So if I do a VS, and I'm going to put my cursor where I want to split it, and let's say I want to split it over here, what I can do then is do another set command. And in this case, I want to see BMCB again. I could have said BMCA or all. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to look at a view called DevStat for device statuses. Okay, like so. Now, once I've done this, if I'm looking at something and I need to see more detail on it, I can expand the view by using the max command. Then I can do next and previous to cycle through the ones that were on my customized screen. And when I'm done doing my diagnosis, I can use the restore or rest command to put the display back the way it was. If I want to close windows, I can do so by using the close command, like so. And then we're down to one window. Now I can also sort the displays very easily. If I just type in sort, I position my cursor in the column I want to sort by, let's say delay for CPU, and then my field is sorted. Now, if I want to do a more durable type of sort, because this is an ad hoc sort, what I can do is I can type in cust for customize, and then I could do O for order, which is right here. That's what we call sort in here, O for order. And then I need to tell them which column I want to sort by. And in this case, that's column M for delay for CPU. So I would put an M there, and just like so. And now when I back out and save this view, he's going to permanently keep that. So let's say I want to look at J delay again. I'm going to refresh it because he keeps the changes until I redisplay it. Oops, spell that right. There we go. And then if I display my customized view, you notice that there the sort is in place. Now we could also go into customize and we can set filters, we can modify thresholds, you can move fields around, you can specify positional parameters with the view, you can add and remove fields. So a whole bunch of different options up here. There's no harm in playing around with these to trying to tweak the view to meet your needs, because MainView is going to save the customized view in a library that's only accessible by you. If you want to share a customized view, then it's a simple matter of copying a PDS member from one library to another. And that's the type of thing BMC would be happy to work with you to do if your installer does not know. Another thing that's helpful in MainView is there's a lot of help information available. If I go to a view called JCPU, and let's say I'm looking at something like use CPU and I'm not sure what that means, I could put my cursor in this column somewhere and do a PF1, and MainView will pop up information to help me understand what that field means. Now, if I scroll down, there'll be some extended information I can review. And here, MainView gives me the actual formula for the calculation. So it removes any vagueness of what the data means. And I could do the same thing for other fields and get similar results. If I don't know what a view is used for, I can put my cursor on this view name in the upper left. In this case, it's JCPU. And if I do a PF1 there, I'll get a little information about how the view is used, as well as what actions are available from the view. And you can see here that there are a few different actions. We can display the active TCBs for the address space. We can initiate an MV scope operation, which does some very intensive sampling of an address space to determine what addresses are active in it. We can do an E command to reset the service classes. We can cancel an address space. We can also kill the address space, so terminate it at memory. And you don't want to use the kill command unless you really have no choice, because it can cause unpredictable results in your environment. Another thing we can do in MainView is we can export the view to a data set. So what we do is we can just type in export like so, press enter. I'm going to be prompted for a data set. I'm going to call my member test001. And then I'm going to go ahead, I want to make this as is. We also can additionally generate the file in a formatted way. We can do it in the CSV format, so you can download it to Excel and create your own charts and graphs if that's the way you like to do it. We do also have a facility with CMF called MainView Explorer that provides a full function graphical interface for the MainView, or I'm sorry, the CMF data as well. But let's go ahead and specify as is here, and then I'm going to PF3, and my data has been exported. So let's flip over and go look at that member. Test 01. And this is how he formats the data, just like he looks on the display without all the pretty colors. Now, one thing I do want to point out, for this file, the records need to be fixed blocked, but the record length doesn't matter. What's going to happen is MainView is going to truncate the data at the last field that fits into the record size. So in this case, I'm looking at records that are 133 bytes. They could be 80, they could be 512. It's really up to you and how much data that you want to capture into the data set. Now, let's say I'm looking at a display and I want to see what was happening previously in your environment. What we can do is we can use the time command, just type time on the command line, and you're going to get popped up a window like so. Now here I can specify an end date and an end time, and I'm just going to back up a couple hours because I have limited data in my environment, and I'm back up to 6 a.m. So I do a PF3, and you'll notice up here on this information line that we now say 6 a.m. for our time. Now, one thing I like to do that I suggest that you do as well is if you go into your keys, and these key assignments are for MainView only, what you can do is change your PF5 and PF6 keys, the time equal previous and equal next. And what that will do is allow you to scroll forward and backward in time one interval by pressing your PF key, which is a little bit easier than using typing in the command on the command line. Now in MainView, the PF5 and PF6 keys aren't used, so you can go ahead and set them up like this without any impact. Now I'm going to go ahead PF3, and now I'm going to use the PF5 key to back up one interval at a time. And you'll be able to note the 6 o'clock will change to 5:45, then 5:30, then 5:15. So if you don't know exactly when a problem occurred, you can kind of get in the ballpark, and then you can navigate through the intervals to look for the exact time of the problem. Okay? Okay, so another thing I want to show you is how we can generate background exceptions with CMF. And the way we do that is by typing in make alarm, and we can position our cursor in any field that we want to set the exception on. So in this case, I'm going to pick the total delay percentage, and I'm going to put my cursor there and press enter, and I'll be presented with a display like this. Now, typically on the first screen, we don't make any changes, so I'm going to do an N for next, and I'm going to be presented with a display like so. I'm going to go ahead and use the thresholds that were inherited from the view. So we're just going to do a next here. Here we can customize the messages that are being generated. We can use any of the fields in the view where we're capturing the exception from, but we're going to go ahead and use the default values for now. So we'll do another next. And here we have some administrative information like what library we want to put it in, the group name, all of that stuff. I'm going to change my alarm name to Jeff002, and then we'll go ahead and do a PF3, and he takes me to the alarms view. So I'm going to locate Jeff002, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on by using the activate command. Okay, so now when I go into the alarms display, you can see here all these Jeff002s are being generated for the exception that we just built. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Okay, so we don't waste a processor on that. Let's go back in. Now we do provide some RMF-like menus, at least for the first menu entry. You'll see something like this, which may be familiar to you. Underneath these menu items, you're going to get the displays that are more similar to what MainView has, so on and so forth. But at least the initial menu looks familiar. Now, I do want to show you a couple more things. If, for instance, I want to look at workloads, I can come down into workloads, And I can look at the workloads, the service class, report classes. Let's just look at the workloads. And here you can see the average PI, the max PI, the velocity, the delay, transaction rates, all the information you need to assess how your workloads are performing in WLM. So it's a very handy view. We also provide similar view for report classes and service classes. If you have those built, it gives you a little more granularity. We also have displays for storage. So if I want to look at central storage, I can do so. Here I can see what my allocations are. If I want to see how my common storage is being used, I can use the common storage area summary view. I can also look at common storage by address space. So here we can see how much common storage is being used by each address space. Also at the top, the summary line shows us the total usage for the system. And then of course the system shows you stuff being used by system, started tasks and objects. You have zip processors, will show you the address space usage of zip. So you can see that here. If you're running XCF, we can show you the XCF members. And go down here and we can show you how they're performing. So that information can be handy if you're running an Assistplex. Same thing for coupling facility. We can show you the structures and how they're performing. We do provide some basic USS information with CMF. If I want, I can go and I can look at the file systems, right? Some basic information on the usage of those, or I can go in and get a high level view of my USS processes. So here I can see the state of the processes, how often they're being used, and what job names are spawning them. Okay. But that's what we have for you today. If you have any questions about using CMF or the other MainView products, please reach out to your installer or to us at BMC directly, and we'll be happy to guide you through the process. The point of this exercise is to get you familiar enough with the product and how to use it that you can begin to explore on your own.